So I think it's about time we called up our guest.
Shall we?
Back by popular demand.
Are you ready?
Former CNN host and now killing it on YouTube with his own twice daily show, The Don Lemon Show. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. And now on Substack.
And now on Substack.
I'm getting my writing on. Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to write for you. Why haven't you ever
Yeah, I
asked
would
me to
love
write?
you to. We'd love you to write for us. Consider
Sam.
it done.
Hi.
Hi, Sam.
I want you to
Hi,
write
Joanna.
for me.
How are
I
you?
don't
Good
have
to
a
see you.
platform.
You don't have.
No, one day. It's so exciting.
Hi, everybody.
It's exciting to have you here. We
Hi,
all want to
everybody.
know. We all want to know what you're thinking about. What is happening right now? You were on your phone, just even sitting over on the couch. You can't pry yourself
You saw
away.
that, right?
I did.
I'm getting news. I
Of
saw
course.
Donald Trump's approval rating is at its lowest ever right now. It just
Where
hit
is it?
56% disapprove, 42% of the in this poll.
That's not a
approve, so.
tantalizing enough number
And
for
then-
me. I think it's
you want like
a
zero.
lot lower than that.
And then Cory Booker broke Strom Thurmond's record, which I'm really
Fantastic.
happy about.
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And he's still going.
And he is still going.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's still going. Oh
Yeah.
my God, his heart is so good.
How does he, I don't think he could go to the bathroom. No, that was the biggest question I've
Do you
gotten
not
all
get
day.
breaks?
I mean, you know, maybe it could be like an astronaut, you know,
And a
thing, like the
diaper?
diaper, or
No.
I actually
don't
feel
think
like-
Cory Booker West.
I think that I feel like when Ted Cruz did it, when he
did.
when he did it, but less
Yeah,
successfully
Ted
than Cory
Cruz.
Booker. I think that he got bathroom breaks.
He did.
And like a sandwich break.
Well, I noticed that earlier they were
Sandwich
taking
break.
Yes.
a sandwich break. I don't
Yeah.
think, really?
Someone brings you a turkey club.
Yeah.
Let's go to a safe place.
Chris Murphy said you can train your body if you are motivated enough, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Corey
Have you guys ever
has
gone
it
24
down.
hours without peeing? No.
Everybody's shaking.
That was the
their head.
biggest question I got today. Was like, how does he go to the bathroom? Is he going to the bathroom? Which was a very, I think,
Well,
a
I
very
think
good
if you
question.
just don't drink water, you'll be fine, right? You may get dehydrated by the end of it. All right, I
Yeah.
have a question for you, Don. Whose Signal group chat would you most like to be
Yeah.
accidentally invited to?
Yes.
Oh my God! You asked. I forgot because I had a margarita and you asked me this.
Oh, I'm gonna take a sip of my
Oh, a
margarita.
Signal chat with. Ooh,
Boy, oh boy.
yeah, that's a good one.
A lot of our government must be on.
In government, just anybody.
Well, anybody at all.
I would say it would be. Can I say Jay-Z and Beyonce? That's
Oh.
kind of boring, right?
Yeah, really?
No,
That
not
must
really.
be
I wouldn't
more
care.
interesting. I think more interesting.
I would like to be on a Signal group chat with Elon Musk, Donald Trump,
Well, that would be enough.
J.D. Vance,
Yeah.
and I got one, and Pete Hegseth.
Okay.
That's it.
I think they will invite you at some point.
That's enough.
So do we think that Mike Waltz and Jeffrey Goldberg are in fact in regular contact?
I think that Mike Waltz is a contact, is a source for Jeffrey Goldberg.
So do we think he's actually deep state, Mike Waltz?
I just think he's a blabbermouth. I think that he's a thirsty person. He's a pick-me, right? And so seriously, so I think he probably, hey, I got some information for you if you write something good about me. And so I think he was a source. I think Donald Trump knows that he was a source. He knows he's a source. That's why he has to say, oh, this is the worst person ever. He's so dumb and he's so stupid. And Jeffrey is being a little coy about it because we don't like to give our sources away.
Right.
So Jeffrey's like, he's saying he doesn't know me, but his number's in my phone. You get it.
But there are
Yeah.
so many leakers. I mean, there are always people willing to give information. It seems to me
Yeah.
this administration is just a leaky boat. I mean, we talked to Michael Wolff about it. He has so many people talking to him all the time. People are
Right.
competing to give him their scoops, and they want to get theirs. I mean, that's what he told us, is that people they want to get their side of the story out before anybody else gets it out because they're all so suspicious of each other, and it's such a cutthroat place.
And they want to curry favor with
Yeah.
the
Yep.
reporter or whatever, so that the reporter will write something good about them because they're all hungry.
Right. Yeah,
They're all
everybody's hungry.
egomaniacs.
Well, and I think they all dislike each other, right? So they're all giving stories about each other to the press because they all want to be. I mean, I'm always struck by the analogy to the royal family that Princess Diana used to talk regularly to the Daily Mail, and on a Friday she would have a regular weekly date with the Daily Mail where she would tell them everything about what was going on with her divorce with Prince Charles, then Prince Charles. now obviously King Charles, the Daily Mail would then run the front page with all these juicy details. And Diana would come out and say, this is outrageous. Why are they doing this to me? I'm being persecuted by the tabloid press. Meanwhile, she was the source.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of that going on here, that they tell tales about each other. They're all
Yeah.
suspicious of each other.
Right.
And Donald Trump knows that and plays them like that.
But don't you know, you're from the UK, right? So
No.
where are you from?
No, Brooklyn, Don. Of course I'm from the UK.
Okay, so because I get that, and in Australian it just depends. It's like a little bit
What?
off.
That's
Sorry,
so
sometimes.
insulting.
I knew, Crocky. I never know. Okay, so
Can I just tell you one thing, that a friend of mine went into Australia recently, and when he was being interviewed by the the equivalent of their customs people or whatever, immigration people going through, and they said to him, he'd filled out his form, and they said, do you have a criminal record? And he said, do you still need one to come here then? Immediately pulled aside for secondaries, immediately. But I thought, almost worth it, almost worth it.
oh, that's so good.
That's so funny.
And how crazy is the story about Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who got hit by a bus? Have you been following that?
No, I haven't.
So she was the big accuser of, certainly Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew did a $14 million settlement with her, saying he'd never slept with her, but here's $14 million, just in case I forgot, through Epstein. She was the big Epstein
Oh, she was
accuser.
a minor at the
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Was she? Yeah. Okay, got it.
Well, she claims that she was traded for sex and abused
Wow.
by Ghislaine and by Jeffrey Epstein. But she posted earlier this week, for those who haven't seen it, pictures of herself looking absolutely terrible, saying she'd been given 4 days to live
Right.
because she'd been hit in a car accident by a school bus.
Yes.
Oh,
Crazy,
wow.
crazy story.
It's crazy.
Do you think they set it up?
With that, it's so difficult to know, isn't it? It's so hard not to think maybe there are a lot of people who want her out of the way.
Yeah. I mean, I hope she's okay, but like, you get hit by a bus.
Right.
I
out of the
am literally,
blue.
for people who cannot see this, I'm sitting over here and my mouth is hanging open.
Well,
She got hit by a bus.
She was hit by a bus.
Are you buying it?
God, I'm just.
She's
She's
been
even
school bused.
more. Now
Yeah.
she's been school bused.
She's been school bused.
And she lived to tell the, well, she lived to tell
Well,
the tale.
she said 2 days ago she had 4 days left to live.
Oh
so,
wow. Oof.
Yeah.
Awful. Sorry,
Oh,
but it sounds suspicious.
All right, let's move
Okay.
swiftly on.
No.
We'll move swiftly on to
Okay.
Don. Should CNN attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
Why wouldn't they?
Amber Ruffin works for them.
Well, Amber Ruffin doesn't work for CNN. She's a contracted
Is she?
employee.
Oh,
A
that's
contracted
true.
employee. Yeah, I think that they
Been to
should.
it. Did you like it? Do you
I
like
actually
that
loved
about
it.
You did?
Yeah, I think that's
Me
the whole
too.
point. The whole point of it is to roast people.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And for them to, somehow, have this sort of, what do you call it, snowflake attitude towards
Right.
a comedian being there. Remember, the people that she's going to criticize, many of them, especially the Trump folks and on the right, they are the free speech absolutist people. Of
course.
Let comedians be comedians. What does Elon Musk say? Like, make comedy legal
legal
again.
again.
And so
Yeah.
then that has to be for everybody if you're going to do so. I don't understand why the White House Correspondents Association did it.
No.
And I believe, I spoke with Larry Wilmore last night, who did the 2016. He was the comedian in 2016, and he made a joke about me, and I flipped him off live on
Well,
television.
tell everybody the joke, because that was a good
He
joke. And this
said-
was Obama's last year.
He said there were some world-class journalists, or the best journalists in the world are here, and Don Lemon is also here too. Alleged journalist. And then it was a natural thing, so I was in the crowd and I did this, and the cameras got me, and people were wondering if I was going to get fired, and my boss was like, no, that's pretty fucking awesome. That's great that you did that. But it was just a natural reaction. Larry Wilmore and I are friends. I interviewed him last night about Amber Ruffin, and he's on my side. It's supposed to be a roast, but not all things are equal, right? But in comedy, you can find, look, just the last 70 some days or the last week was enough for an entire routine, right? At the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yeah.
Just the whole signal gate of it would be a routine. I mean, it writes itself. How dumb are they just to do what they did?
So dumb.
And by the way, the other breaking news I found out as I was sitting there, that other members of the Trump administration have been using Gmail
Stop
to
it
conduct
right
government business,
now.
Including Mike Waltz. Yeah.
You stop it.
No, I'm serious. But her emails.
But her emails, I can't with these people. I really can't.
Yeah. It's,
And you know, it pains me how much the story of Signalgate kind of left the public view. It actually hurts. I'm hoping that this story elevates it again, because I think it's really important. I think it's so emblematic of how sloppy they are, how careless they are.
Do you think that
What
Donald
losers
Trump?
they are.
Well, do you think Donald Trump introduced the idea of running for a third term to distract from Signalgate?
no.
No. But
They've been talking about it for a while. Steve Bannon was talking about it before
Yeah.
Signalgate even happened, but
I definitely think he's erratic and operates on a very primal level. I think it had the effect of turning people's attention away from Signalgate, but we have a really hard time staying with one story when so many stories are happening, like moment by moment. I mean, firing all of those workers today, like the whole, it's too
Well, Health and
distressing.
Human Services,
I mean,
10,000
it's
jobs to
10,000
go.
incredible.
Yeah, that doesn't sit well
It's
with the public. I think
incredible.
that's gonna.
No.
I think that's gonna backfire. I think that's gonna be the thing. I actually do think that Signalgate is going to stick. It's gonna take a while. And one, it's funny, right? Laughable. I'm not laughing.
Well, and
with
people
them.
can understand it, right? Sometimes
It's simple.
government
That's what I was
is,
gonna
yeah,
say.
yeah.
It's easy to understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've all done it. We've
Yeah.
all fired off an email reply, or which we shouldn't have done. Not you, Sam, but everybody else.
Never.
And I think those small things where people realise, oh my God, I can't believe he did that, and it's national security at the heart of it, doesn't sit well with
Have
people.
you
I
sent an
agree.
email to someone you were talking shit about?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
And what happened?
Weird thing. Well, you're like, oh my God, I didn't mean it. Yeah, it's very tricky.
That was for
Very
the other
tricky.
Joanna Coles. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, I actually invited you to a dinner this week. The wrong
You
Don.
did?
The wrong Don.
Oh, that's right. You Signalgated
Yeah,
me.
I signal-gated.
She
That's
said,
good. We
have
should turn
dinner
it
with
into a
us
verb.
in the UK. Is it on the 10th? When is it?
Yeah, 19th.
On the 19th.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, she's like, oops, wrong Don. I'm like, I
No,
thought she's
sorry about
flying
that.
me to the UK to have dinner.
Well,
No?
I will. Right?
Don't
Yeah.
you think she should? Round of applause. Should she?
Seriously.
Oh,
You should invite me.
you really can only talk shit about people live and in person. You have to make
Exactly
that's
right.
what phone calls are for.
Who
That's
call,
the
I mean,
only
who
reason
has
to
a
have a
phone
phone call.
call? I mean, it's kind of weird to have a phone call.
It is? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
not a lot of people. I talk on the phone rarely. Either
Yes.
it's like a Zoom with my team, or I talk on the phone with my mother.
Right.
Everybody else is pretty much a text or an email.
Well, your mother appreciates that.
She does. You got to talk to mom.
You've got to talk
Yeah,
to your
moms
mother.
and like sisters and siblings. You got to talk to them. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of phone calls. You guys have a lot of phone calls? I don't do a lot of phone calls. You do? I don't know. Phone calls to me are like meetings. Like this could have been an email.
Oh my God, that's terrible. All right, so listen, we want to know how the Don Lemon show is going. You started twice a day. I thought you'll never have enough news to fill twice a day.
my
Now I
gosh.
think you should be doing 6 times
I
a day.
think 6 times a day would be an appropriate choice because you've already done you've done
Yeah.
2 live streams today.
Honestly, I have, but you know what? The thing is, I started at 5 o'clock. I started doing, my show was going to be like 3 days a week, an interview show, which was just sort of, I thought kind of boring after I started doing it. It was like, this is kind of like I was doing a CNN and it's boring. I don't have a connection to my audience. I started live at 5 in my living room. It took off. People were like, get out of the stupid studio. It looks like cable news. Do it in your living room. And then I said, okay, after the election, maybe there'll be a different outcome and I won't have to cover politics so much. But then Donald Trump was elected again and he takes over everything in the zeitgeist, including sports, arts, Kennedy Center now. He's in
Yes,
charge of that.
that's
And
right.
so now, I started at 10 a.m., lots of news. Now I feel like I should just go from 10 a.m. all the way to 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
with just my own like mini sort of news station because
Right.
there's so much news. When I sign off at 11 or 11:30, there are so many people watching that I hate to just leave them there on the board.
Right.
Yeah.
If something broke at 10 o'clock at night, which often it really does,
Yeah.
would you do a
Yeah.
special, would you
I'd-
just go
I'd
back
go
on and
right
just
on.
like fire it up?
Yeah, I'd fire it up, and especially now on Substack. Substack
Yeah.
is so easy. It's just you hit one button and you're live. I decide about sort of overnight what's happening, and then
Yeah.
maybe an hour or two before the show because. In the morning, you want to inform people, right?
Right.
At 10 o'clock, they've kind of seen the boring morning shows, and then Just,
I like that you're taking a position on morning shows.
Oh my
That's
God.
dramatic. No, they are morning.
I know, but the thing is that I used to love morning shows. I wouldn't miss the first 20
Okay.
minutes of the Today Show. But now they've just become vehicles to sell books or entertainment. I have a
Right.
project, and so you get a little bit of news, and the rest of it is just kind of fluff. And so I don't really like morning shows. And so, anyways, yeah, that's it.
Right,
Sorry,
right.
not a big fan.
Are you gonna go do a live stream right after this, something?
I'm gonna do a live stream and talk about how Sam B was drunk off her
much
ass on margaritas.
So much salt,
and
just
she
like inflating.
and she was bloated from the
Yep.
salt. Yeah.
Yep.
And then,
Her skin
and then she
was
proclaimed her
drying.
love for MAGA. I mean, it was.
Do you find operating in this environment you're self-censoring?
No. Am I self-censoring?
Yeah.
I have to make myself not because I've been trained for so long to self-censor in real time.
Right.
Or-
What is that? How do you do that? How do you untether yourself from that?
It takes a bit of time. I think I'm
Right.
just starting to really do it. I had a moment back right at the end of the year last year where there was this whole controversy about the H-1B visas, and they were like
Yeah.
we're going to kick all these people out, and then Vivek came around and said, oh, we don't want the H-1B visas. He was saying it's good.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Vivek Ramaswamy. It was good for whatever Indian people, and I've done this. And then the Trump folks, the MAGA folks came about and said, hell no, we don't want any immigration. And they were so racist about it. And I just got on and I started laughing. I'm like, you fucking idiots, you didn't realize. And people were like, that's the head of my social media. They're like, dude, what did you do today? Like, your social media is blowing up because
Right.
that's how people really feel. They just want you to be authentic and real.
Right.
And so I try not to self-censor now because I am beholden to me, not
Right.
a corporation. I don't represent 4,500 people around the world who are in war zones. It's just me, and I can say whatever the fuck I want.
How do you handle it, I guess, when a story, because you can read a lot of stories and a lot of news is happening and it's all very tragic, it's very, it's compelling, but then occasionally, I think for myself, a smaller story will bubble up and it really is very affecting. How do you handle that?
What do you mean, the small story?
Well,
What?
the story of the man who was deported to El Salvador.
Oh my
and
God, I've been covering that.
I'm-
Not just
Well,
him.
even,
and there are-
even Joe Rogan stepped in
I
to
mean,
support them.
I
and
talked
now
about Joe Rogan today. Look, I said,
My God.
mark your calendars. I agree with Joe Rogan. Maybe hell
Yeah.
is frozen over, but but honestly, and then at the end I said, but it's a little late for moral clarity.
Yeah.
Because for someone to think that Donald Trump, honestly, I don't care what your political affiliation is, that he is somehow going to act in a democratic way, when he told you what he was going to do, when you endorsed him and you asked people to vote for him and you voted for him, it's a little late for moral clarity. It's sad that they're picking up people off of the street and basically kidnapping them or
Yes.
abducting them, but I'm shocked that you're shocked that he's doing it.
I'm shocked that he's shocked, and I'm shocked that we're not going to try to bring him back.
No, there's no
no path.
There's no
incentive
mechanism.
structure. There is a path. We're the United States of America. We could do whatever we want. If we want to bring them back, we could. But there's no incentive structure for them because number one, they don't want people getting on the news and telling their story because they're afraid that public sentiment would not be in their favor, and it wouldn't be. Also, I'm sure they're afraid of lawsuits. And so they don't want these people coming back to America. They want to leave them where they are.
Well, so when a story hits you like that, you're just able to go for it in a way that you weren't before.
I'm able to not have to give false equivalence.
Right.
And say, well, it's this. It's just wrong.
Right.
It's just wrong. People have due process. They presented no evidence. I'm sure some of these people are really bad, and I think if you're bad and you're a gang member, of course you should be deported. But to run up on a Tufts student who wrote something in a newspaper that you didn't like, she was pro-Palestinian. American students, white liberal American students have been doing this since the 1960s, in which if you look at what she wrote, it wasn't even that bad. And so for them to accost her and abduct her in broad daylight is just beyond the pale and with no evidence and no due process. That's really, to me, un-American.
I find this very chilling. I find this to be a very chilling harbinger of what could be coming. We're not even 100 days in. I guess every time I open my mouth, I go, well, what do we do? And I don't know what we do other than Cory Booker has to talk for, I don't know, 8,000 hours straight.